All right, so I am thrilled to be with you. My name is Mike Fogel, and I am the founder and director of the Child and Family Art Therapy Center. I also created the Art of Friendship Social Skills program. That's been around for 2 decades already. And we also have an adult art therapy center called Philadelphia Art Therapy Associates. And we specialize in working with neurodiverse individuals, and we support people going through anxiety, depression, adjustment disorders, trauma. So all different emotional and coping challenges, and that's just what our specialty is. Also a subspecialty in social skills. And we work primarily with children with social skills in groups at least, and that's ages 3 through 18. Our individual therapy goes up to geriatrics. Tonight's presentation is about 3 strategies that you could use today, leaving this presentation, to turn negative and depressive thinking positive, to change around some of those thoughts that can get in the way of your satisfaction, your functioning. And so let's dive in and start by talking about stress, the dreaded S word. So stress can come from a lot of things. Up top left, we have the coronavirus. We have current events, we have news, isolation if you don't have people in your life, financial worries, financial concerns, jobs if you're struggling with jobs. So many reasons for stress. Life is constantly sending us new challenges, and so stress, what is it? What does it do to us? It releases all sorts of chemicals that create tensions in the body. Anxiety creates discomfort throughout the body, tensions that alert you to the fact that something's wrong. Negative and depressive thinking can make you feel heavy, can make you feel sad, can cause you to think negative things about your current experiences, and also make you predict that upcoming experiences are going to not work out. This is going to stink. That's not going to work for me. So it can start to get in the way and cause people to feel almost like a learned helplessness and maybe want to give up or not try. So we want people to be able to stay engaged with life. And so we want to deal with this. And so that's really the topic of tonight, is dealing with this. Not many people have your cameras on, but Zoom fatigue these days. I certainly felt that at times in the last year. And so we deal with that as well. But let's talk about negative thinking. It's actually natural. It's natural to have negative thoughts. And at a point in our species history as human beings, it really came in handy. If there were a clan of people, 10,000 years ago, and there's one person saying, be careful, this is not going to work out well, that person was valuable, so that that clan didn't do something that was rash, right, or dangerous or unhelpful for the group. So having that person who has some negative thinking patterns or wired in that way, it's actually protective, right? There's nothing wrong with it. There's nothing absolutely inherently bad about it, except when negative thinking takes over, right, or hijacks your everyday thinking. And then it can go from sort of protective to almost limiting or abusive. And in this picture, you can see you can get negative thinking about yourself, which can impact your self-esteem and how you feel about yourself. So there's a lot of reasons to talk about this negative thinking. And so in the cognitive behavioral therapy world, cognitive behavioral therapy holds that there's a think, feel, do cycle. I'm going to unpack it with this poster over my shoulder. We nickname it sort of tongue-in-cheek style, humorously, the toilet bowl of doom, because you'll see that you can spiral around here and you can wind up flushing yourself down this cycle of negative thinking that makes your life ever worse, ever more stressful. And so here what we have is top, you see the number 1 at the top with a little icon of a planet. That's the world around you. And so in this negative cycle, you could say it starts with what's happening around you. Your world happens, something happens in your world, and now it begins your think, feel, do cycle. So you experience it, and instantly you think something about this, what happened. If you follow the circle around, the 2 leads to a 3 right here. And so the 3 is feel. Then you feel something. Your thought leads to a feeling, okay? Your feeling triggers number 4, an impulse to do something, an impulse to act. And so think, feel, do is a cycle that our brains and our body is in all the time. So something happens in our world, we think something about it, the thought triggers a feeling, the feeling triggers an action. So you might say something or do something. But if you notice, the arrow then points to number 2 and you get a second round. And so let me give you an example. So let's say that you are planning to go out to a store, and then you have a flat tire. Okay, so 1 is you have a flat tire. Something happens in your environment, in your world. So 2, instantly you think something about it. Oh, this stinks, my day's ruined. If you think this stinks, my day's ruined, then how are you likely going to feel? You're going to feel frustrated, angry, dejected. And then what might you do? Are you going to give up? Are you going to cry? Are you going to complain? Will you take action? So if you have a negative thought, this stinks, you feel stressed, and then maybe you do something that isn't so effective in coping with it. So then leads to number 2, what happens next? Well, okay, you give up, you don't get the tire fixed. So later when you actually need to go out to an appointment, you can't go. You think, oh, I was supposed to go out to a job interview. This stinks, I'm never gonna get a job. I feel hopeless, I feel dejected. And then maybe I crawl into bed to cry because I just want to give up. So you can see that the first round is, one set of feelings, but then if you don't do something to cope with it in stage 4, at the do level, you don't do something effective, then it leads to number 2, which is negative, and now you're spiraling. This stinks, this is worse. And then the third round is, oh, things never work out for me. I wish I weren't alive. And that can lead to very negative thoughts sometimes, in worst case scenarios where someone feels like, I want to hurt myself. I wish I weren't born. So that could lead to depression, negative self-esteem, God forbid, suicidal thoughts or suicide. So we really want to cut it off, and we want to stop the cycle. We want to stop the toilet bowl from flushing. And so the way we talk about it is, if you imagine a bicycle tire that's spinning like a cycle, right? Spinning around and around. If you wanted to stop it suddenly, you might take a stick and insert it, clang, right where it's spinning, and it would go, chong, it would stop suddenly. So, well, how can we stop your negative cycle? How can we stop it from spinning and spinning? Here's where cognitive behavioral therapy is really wise and very helpful. It holds that there are 2 points in this cycle that you can learn how to control. And there are 2 points that you cannot control. You don't have any control over. Give you a second to think about it if you want to take a guess. But I'll give you the answer. You cannot control number 1, what happens around us. We can't control what other people do or a flat tire. Right? So something happens is not in our control. We also can't control the way we feel. You can try to hold it in, but you're still going to feel it. Why? Because the thought precedes it. The thought precedes the feeling, and it controls the feeling. So you can't control the feeling because the thought makes it happen. The 2 areas in yellow are the things you can control. You can learn new ways to think about your life and new ways to think about your experiences that maybe aren't quite so negative. And you can also learn some new things to do. That's if something does go wrong. What can you do to help yourself feel better? What can you do to problem solve it? So the 2 things you can learn how to manage and control is what you think and what you do. And that helps to interrupt the negative cycle. That's why I have those maroon slash marks drawn right before the 2 and the 4. So the rest of what I'm going to share has to do with some new ways to think about your world and your life, your experiences, and then a few things that you can do to help to stop this cycle from spinning so you can feel better and you can function better. Okay, and just to get started, there's one area of thought that I always want to share, which is that you have the power to take charge of your life in positive ways. Sometimes it's called agency. Another term for that is self-determination. You have the power to make choices in your life that can direct your life in positive ways. And in my program, we have sort of a playful way of talking about it. And so we have this thing called the road to happiness. And you can see there you are, perhaps on a car. And in the car, you're driving along, and then the road splits. Right there, the road divides, and you can take the road to happiness, that road that goes up to the smiley face. Right? If you turn your steering wheel, if you control your vehicle, you can take the road to happiness. But if you're not paying attention, or if you don't have the skills, you might go bumpity bumping, crashing down this to the road to sadness, the road to anger. So something happens, the road splits, and you have choices. Sometimes in a day, we have 25, 50, or 100 choices throughout the day. Some choices are small, like, do I want chocolate or vanilla ice cream? Which one will I like better today? What am I in the mood for? But some choices are very, very important. Like, I'm feeling really low today. I feel really, really bad. Do I stay in bed, or do I force myself to get out and take a walk? Taking a walk is your road to success, is the road to happiness. So sometimes for kids, we call it the road to happiness, and that's sort of a simple form, but this could also be the road to contentment, the road to success, the road to feeling good. So whatever you want to put in that top line, and you can call it the road to misery or the road to depression. The road to struggle is the lower road. So you have to think to yourself, well, what might happen if I do this? If I stay in bed because I'm feeling low today, will that help me at all? I know it's what I feel like doing. That's my impulse. That's my do. But could I choose a different do in my think, feel, do cycle? I'm going to do something different. That's going to be my road to happiness. So everything that we talk about tonight is going to empower you to make that choice to direct your life in a positive direction. Okay. So here's the first strategy we need to go over. It's called cognitive shift. Changing the way you think about something from negative and unhelpful thoughts to more effective, resilient thoughts. Okay? Building a bridge from that darker, unhappy side to the more colorful, vibrant side. And to explain what a cognitive shift is, I'm going to show you a couple of optical illusions, visual illusions, okay? So here's one. And if you look at it one way, if you focus on it, you might see a woman's face. So the face is mostly white, and there's like a black eye, a darkened eye, a nose shaded area, and a mouth. So you can see sort of a face in there. But if you shift your vision, can you see the profile of a man in black who looks like he's playing a saxophone? So you're shifting your attention. So shift your eyes from one to the other. So first you can see the person, shift your attention, cognitive shift. You can focus on the saxophone player and back to the face. So changing your mind is changing your perspective, seeing the same picture in a different way. Here's one more illusion just for kicks. And so you might see the picture, if you focus your eyes one way, can you all see sort of almost the side profile, 3/4 rear of a woman facing away? And then she has like a bun in the back of her head. But if you, again, cognitive shift, look to the right, it looks like there's a bald man with a bulbous nose looking down and a mustache. So if you shift your vision, can you see it? So shifting your focus from negative to resilient thoughts, neutral thoughts, or even just realistic thoughts can make all the difference in the world. And here's how to do it. So we're going to talk about lenses for a minute. This is a way to very concretely think about how you see the world. Okay, so take a look at this, and there's an image there of lenses. On the left side, we have dark negative glasses. On the right side, we have rose-colored glasses. Well, what do glasses do? I'm wearing glasses myself, right? So my glasses have lenses, and they change the way the world looks. The world is blurry for me without my glasses. When my glasses go on, it sharpens my focus. It changes the way I see the world. Well, our minds have lenses that we see the world with too. And so if someone has a dark lens, if you go look at the very top with those little dashes, you know, they might walk around the world and their negative lens is nothing works out for me. People are against me. You know, nobody ever likes me. So these are negative thoughts that you might have just walking around the world with nothing happening, just your default position. That's kind of a more negative thought cycle. That's the beginning of it. So imagine you walk around the world with that lens on, and then something happens. Imagine you're walking down the hall carrying a big stack of books. You're balancing them. You're trying to take them to another room. Someone else is walking the opposite way. They're carrying their own stack of books. The two of you bump shoulders, clunk, boom, oh, you drop all your books. So now all of a sudden, you have a reaction. Think, feel, do. You can see in this slide going down. Think. You might think, oh, is he crazy? What a jerk. Or he did it on purpose. If you have a lens of nothing works out, people are against me, nobody likes me, you're going to have these negative thoughts about your experience. What a jerk. He did it on purpose. If you think, what a jerk, he did it on purpose, you're going to feel angry, right? And maybe you push, maybe you hit, maybe you curse, or you say something unkind. You might say jerk, you know, and then you hurriedly pick up your books. You don't help the person. You don't see if they're okay, and you go on your way. And now your day really feels awful, right? So that's the think, feel, do that happens if you have this lens on, if you walk around with it. So let's take a look. What happens if you switch lenses, okay? So let's see. Let's say you walk around with those bullet points up top. Sometimes things work out for me. I problem solve things that don't. And most people are trying their best each day and they're not perfect. Okay, so let's say that that's your lens. You walk around the world with that lens on. Same thing happens. You walk down the hall, you and this other person have the books, you bump shoulders, and you drop them. But you think, well, sometimes things work out. I can problem solve things that don't. And most people are just trying their best. Nobody's perfect. So look at the think, feel, do on this side. You know, how would you think? Well, you might think, oh, maybe it was an accident. You know, oh, maybe I wasn't paying attention. You know, if you think maybe it was an accident, you feel just a little annoyed, but mostly happy and calm. And what do? What's your do? You might say, sorry, can I help you pick up your books? You pick up your books, you go on your way, and you're not as upset. So what's the difference? It's the same exact experience, right? Same exact experience. But the person with the dark negative lens reacts angrily, pushes and hits, and it ruins their day. Oh, this day stinks, right? They have this negative thought cycle about it. The person on the rose-colored side feels okay. So what we talk about with clients, if we're talking about these lenses, positive, negative thinking, it can be hard, very difficult to change the lens that you have. So we say, just do an experiment. So you don't have to dive in. I'm not saying you have to, have this lens on all the time. And I'm also not saying that you have to have a totally optimistic lens. Everything's great. It's not like a Disney movie, Sunshine and Roses. You can have a neutral to realistic thing. Most people are trying their best and they're not perfect. That's not sunshine and roses. That's pretty neutral, right? So can you just try that on this week? Let's see if you can wear this lens and just try it on, see how it goes. Do an experiment. And then if something happens and you have a negative reaction, use this poster, use this image, and you can think, which lens did I have on? Oh, I got so upset. And then you can rework it in your head. What would happen if I had the rose-colored side on? You might have to practice it after the fact, after you have a negative reaction. If I thought sometimes things work out, I can problem solve and nobody's perfect, what would I have done? What could I say? What could I think? And so just repetition. So try. That's all I'm asking you to do. See if this works for you. Okay. So cognitive shift. See if you can see the world with a different lens. It's a little more neutral, a little more helpful. I have another poster. This is more like instant problem solving. We're going to take perspective. And this borrows the old saying, glass is half full or glass is half empty. So you can see I drew these two glasses and they're approximately filled halfway. Now, I'll tell the story. Here are two twins, okay? Identical twins, same DNA, identical. The one on the left, they're both drinking their favorite beverage. Let's say it's soda, they've a Coke. Okay, so they're drinking this glass of Coke. The person on the left drinks it halfway, looks at it, and he says, oh man, this stinks. This stinks, I only have half left. Oh, I wish I had more. Negative thinking. He's already frustrated and he's barely appreciating what he has. The other sibling drinks her soda, her Coke, halfway to that halfway line. She looks at it and she thinks the bottom thought. She thinks, well, at least I still have half. Well, at least I can still sip it for a while longer. This is great. So well, at least is an instant gratitude script and it's instant resiliency. If you have something that goes wrong, makes you unhappy, can you think a well, at least about it? And I'll tell you, it's very powerful. You can do well, at least for even the most dire, sad things. Here's my example. My grandmother lived to be 102. She died about 3 years ago. My favorite person in the whole world, one of my biggest supports and supporters. And she was vibrant and with it right till the end. And, but then, she was 102 and then she had cancer. And so she finally died. We were definitely sad, but I could, at least I had her for 47 years of my life. At least my own kids had her until they were 19 and 17, and they got to benefit from her love and they got to benefit from all of her wisdom and enjoy her, and vice versa. So even in death, the most, we would think the saddest of circumstances, you can still use well, at least. Instant resilience, instant problem solving. Did it stop me from being sad? No, but it's finding the silver lining, and it can lessen the sting of something that's negative. So that's what I want you to think about. Instant gratitude, instant perspective. So see if you and the people in your life can make well, at least statements. Glass is half full. Try to stay away from the glass is half empty statements. If you make statements from your mouth, it came from your mind. So you had negative thoughts to create that statement of that stinks. So let's try well, at least. All right. So that is the first one, cognitive shift. Try if you can start to loosen up the way that you see the world and know that there's another way to see it. There could be a twin standing right next to you thinking the other thing. There's more than one way to see the world. We always get locked in on, oh, this is the only way. What I have in my head, this is the way it is. And we think that's reality, but in fact, there's another way to see it. And so it really can help you to be resilient and to bounce back from setbacks. Okay, so that was very much number 2, learning new ways to think about your world and your interactions through rose-colored glasses and instant gratitude. Okay. Let's go to number 2. All right, letting go of toxic thoughts. Sometimes we have thoughts or memories that we keep playing in our mind, and they actually hurt us. And we keep rehashing and replaying upsetting things, things that went wrong, things that we feel guilty about, right? And they're in our mind. We replay them over and over. We remember the stories. We tell the stories over and over. But every time that we tell that story or think it, we bring ourselves down again. We wound ourselves. And that could be a part of that toilet bowl of doom, that negative cycle that keeps us feeling bad. Now, in Eastern philosophy, in Buddhism for one, and a lot of Eastern religions and philosophy, there's the belief that the root of all suffering is attachment. What you attach your mind to. If I'm attached to my team, the Eagles winning every football game, I am going to suffer. I have to give up the expectation that they're going to win every game because they're in a rebuilding year this year. And so I should know that they're going to win some and lose some, and it's a learning year for a lot of young players. So letting go of attachment, that expectation, will make me suffer less. So think for a second. What objects or outcomes do you attach your mind to? No, it has to be this way. This is the way it has to be, my way. Well, if you believe that about certain things, then you're going to suffer more. If I expected and demanded of the world that my 102-year-old grandmother with cancer, she needs to live, I need her to live another 2 years, 3 years till I turn 50, I would have suffered more, right? But I still loved her just as much intensely, but I was prepared. I was like, okay, I know she's not going to live forever. I know she's sick and she's very old. That helped me. So let's talk about attachment, what we get our minds stuck to, because sometimes holding on does more damage than letting go. The more we hold on to a memory or a trauma or something you're guilty about or regretful of, it's the memory that keeps doing the damage. It keeps hurting you more than whatever happened last week, last year, last decade. So letting go, opening up your hand, imagine your hand opening up and letting go. And so I want to share something, a concrete thing that you might do to help yourself think about how to let go. It's hard. This is a hard thing. If you have something that's been paining you for years, clearly it is in your toilet bowl of doom, and it's attached its tentacles to your mind and vice versa. But let me sort of visually show you the way that I think about this, and hopefully you might find it interesting and helpful. So I imagine myself in the time stream. So there I am, there you are, standing on that bridge, and that bridge is in the now. That's the present, and the present is this second, the snap, the head of a pin. We're standing on the head of a pin. And so the present is right now, and it flows past us, and it goes to, and the present, the future moves towards us, and then it's only with us for a second, and then it passes us. And you can see, so I have this metaphoric time stream, almost like it's a creek, and I'm standing on the bridge, and there are all these little dots, these little orbs, little balls floating in the water. And in the future, on the right, they're flowing towards me. They're flowing towards my character. Now, these are all these dots represent experiences. And the dark ones are negative experiences, and the orange ones are positive experiences, happy ones that bring me joy or satisfaction. Okay, they're flowing towards me. And you can see, here I am a person with a basket. I'm collecting experiences. Do I want to reach down into the river, into the time stream, and hold on to one of those dark orbs? When you pick up that dark negative experience, if you just hold it for a long time, it's kind of toxic. It's radioactive. It burns your hand. Ouch, you have to drop it. The longer you hold on to it, it starts to hurt. You're hurting yourself by holding on to it. So let it go. Place it back in the time stream. Let it flow to the past. Right? So what do we want to hold on to? We want to hold on to the orange positive experiences. When you pick them up and you hold on to it, it's like a vitamin. It enriches us. It nourishes us. So we want to hold on to the positive life experiences. So if you recall happy times, a positive experience, a time that you felt successful or powerful, stop to think about that. That alone, your body will shoot out all sorts of positive chemicals, right? Serotonin, dopamine, all these pleasure chemicals are going to be coursing through your body when you just stop to think about the positive orange orbs in your life. So what do we do with the negative orbs, right? Negative experiences. We don't want to just totally let them go because there could be wisdom. We could learn from them, right? And you don't want to be in total denial because you'll never grow if you don't look at them. So you pick it up, use it for its learning, and you place it back in the river, and down it goes in the time stream, okay? So sometimes we need to let go. And here I want to give you some little language cues to help you understand and think through exactly how our thoughts and our language cause us to hold on to toxic thoughts, okay? One, so should, the word should is very dangerous. Should creates guilt about the past. If you have a lot of guilt in your life, you have a lot of shoulds in your head. I should have done this. I should have done that. I should have been a better daughter, son, spouse. I should is also self-judgments in the present. I shouldn't have done that. Oh, I shouldn't have done that. And even should can create expectations about the future. I should be an A student. Well, what if you come across a course that's extra hard? You know, you can create negative thoughts about that. So should really can set you up for a lot of pain. These expectations of the way things should be, because you're rejecting the way things are. More on that in a second. When is should helpful? Should is if there are things related to being a moral, ethical person, or if you have responsibilities, there are some shoulds. You know, I should brush my teeth every day. I should make sure my kids get enough sleep, right? And healthy food to eat. I should not steal from people. So should, moral responsibilities, those types of things, that's when should is helpful. But about social things, about performance, we do want to have expectations. We want to strive for excellence, but watch out for how strongly you attach yourself to a should. Remember, attachment is the source of pain. So notice all the shoulds in your life. And I want to give you a few language reframes to help you find some other words and other thoughts that you could use. So if you're judging the past harshly, if you're in a negative thought cycle about the past, I regret this, I regret that, I feel guilty. You know, the shoulds are, I shouldn't have done that, or it should have gone differently. See if you can do a cognitive shift to neutral acceptance. Instead of it shouldn't have been that way, well, that's the way it was. That's the way my family was. That's the way I was at that time in my life. I couldn't help it. Now I know better, but then that's the way I was. That's how he or she was. That's just how my dad was. If you think about the past, I can't turn back time and I can't control other people. We discovered that earlier. That's just how it is. That's just how they were. Those statements, if you can notice, when I say that, I can breathe easier versus I shouldn't have done that. It should have gone differently. You're rejecting reality. When you neutrally accept reality, you can breathe. You can let go more easily of those painful memories. Oh, that's just the way it is. I couldn't have done anything different. Now I'm in the present. Now, what can I do to make my life better? Okay. Here's a few more reframes of the shoulds. If you are judging the present, this shouldn't be happening now. This can't be happening. That's called denial. That creates so much stress in the body, right? But the magical words are is and am. That's the way it is right now. This is just the way it is. If you can say, this is the way it is right now, now you can do problem solving. Now you're in the present, and now you can do something about it. Okay, this is the way it is. So what can I control to help myself feel better? Well, this is just the way I am right now. Right? I am really in a stressful place right now. Okay, this will pass, but this is the way I am right now. Okay, so is and am are ways that you can cognitively let go. And I want to tell you one more sort of therapist-y thing that I've done, an actual strategy. If there's something that you've been holding on to for a long time, or not for a long time, but it's really preying on your mind and it's bringing you down, there's an actual sort of ritual or a little sequence that you can do. So write it down or draw it or do a poem. So just get it out on paper somehow. Write it, draw it, write a poem, write a song, but get it on something permanent. You could, if you have clay, you can etch it into clay, whatever you want to do, but get it out of you and on something external. Okay, so get it on an external object, right? And feel the feelings. As you're writing it, write down, what is the problem? What was the event? What happened? How did it make you feel? How does it still make you feel? What do you wish about it? So you're actually going to lean into it briefly in this exercise, but then when you complete it, you're feeling it, you're going to look at it, and if you really want to let it go, then you're going to do some sort of a ritual or a behavior that's getting rid of it. You could crumple it up and put it in the trash. I recently had a client a young client take some, he was having some bully issues. The bullying stopped, but he was still really fearful, very negative, very worried. He drew and wrote all about it. They took it to their barbecue grill and they grilled it. They burned it. You can rip it up into itty bitty pieces and flush it down the toilet. You can take it to a body of water and cast it away. Watch it literally float away from you, and as paper, it'll dissolve, right? But some kind of ritual, getting it out, having it be permanent in front of you, see it, feel it, and then dispose of it in a very safe and palpable way, a very concrete way, can be a way to get it out. It also helps sometimes if you have witnesses, like at a funeral. Often people gather for a funeral and they watch the casket be lowered in. You're together, you have witnesses, it makes it real, it validates the experience. So if you have some people who support you and want to join in with you with some sort of a funeral for your toxic thought or memory, this thing that's really been hurting you and harming you, you can do a ritual to say goodbye to it. Okay. And life is a balance of holding on and letting go. And the past is meant to teach you, but the hard times are meant to strengthen you. So the last bit I want to say is, if you do pick up your negative orb, don't just sit and ruminate on it and just have it make you feel bad. What can I learn from this? Can I take any meaning out of this? What can I learn from this mistake that I made? Or from this relationship that didn't work out? Okay. What can I learn from this? Can I turn that toxic negative experience into a positive learning? Okay. Letting go of toxic thoughts is strategy number 2. All right. So again, we're thinking about things that you can do to think differently that might make you feel less negative about your experiences, and also things that you can do. Okay. The third thing that you can do, this is the final area of coping we're going to go over tonight, is get in the now, being in the present, versus having your mind in the future or the past. Okay. Just be in the moment, because that's when you can do something to help yourself. You can't do something tomorrow, today. And if it's in the past, it already happened. There's nothing you can do about it. So now is the glorious time where you can do something to help yourself feel better or succeed more. Okay. So back to this picture, stress can knock you mentally out of the now. If something's going on, you might think, oh, I wish for something better in the future, right? Or you might think, or you might be thinking about the past, right? If you're stressed now, oh, I wish I were on that island. I wish I were on the beach in the Jersey Shore. Be so much better then. But you're out of the now, and now you're more stressed. But also, if you are thinking about the past or the future excessively, then that's taking you out of the now when you can actually help yourself. You can do something now. This is the only time you can help yourself, in the now. So stress can knock you out of the now, and stress is caused by being out of the now. Right? Let's get in the present together. Okay. So I want to share with you an exercise. I call it noticing inside. This is simple. I think anyone can do it. And basically, our minds are full of thoughts. Thoughts and experiences, our minds are processing all day long, especially when we're awake. Our minds are still processing when we are asleep in the form of dreams, but we'll focus more on awake experiences right now. So if you see this image, imagine yourself, you're lying on this field, you're that person lying at the bottom, looking up at the sky. And if you imagine different clouds floating by, and you can see the clouds going by, it's a sunny day, there's breaks in the clouds, and there's sunshine in between, okay? And the clouds, you can see them. One passes overhead, and maybe that looks like a dog. The next one passes overhead. Oh, that looks like a car. So you can look at the clouds, right? 1, 2, you can sequence them. Here comes number 3. A little while later, number 4 goes by. And there's bits of sunshine and blue that come between the clouds, right? That's very much like our thoughts. So our thoughts and feelings pass like the clouds. All of our thoughts are temporary. No thought and no feeling is permanent. They come and they go. Now, when we're in the thick of emotion, especially strong emotion, you might feel like it's never going to end. Oh, this is never going to end. I feel so terrible. It's very stressful. But truly, thoughts and feelings always pass. So we're going to notice inside and get in the now. So this is how we do it. Okay. We're going to do a little exercise here. And 2 minutes, 2.5 minutes tops. I'm going to guide you. You're going to listen to my voice, and we're simply going to be noticing things. Okay, we're going to first notice, you're going to follow your breath. And we're going to do this in a second, but I want to give you this up front so that you know what to expect. Second, you're going to notice what's physically supporting your body. If you're sitting down, if you're sitting on a sofa or chair. Then I'm going to direct you to notice and follow your breathing again. Pay attention to your breathing. Then I'm going to have you notice one thought. I'm going to ask you to think one thing while you're doing this. And then we're going to close by turning your attention back to your breaths. For 5 breaths, and we're going to be done. So we're just going to be noticing. All right? So now, if wherever you are, please get in a comfortable position so you can just adjust yourself. If you're sitting, if you're laying, you can get in a comfortable position. Make sure that your body is supported. All right? And if you feel comfortable and safe, you can lower your eyes, or you can even close your eyes. Either one is fine. Okay? So with your eyes down, or closed, just begin. Breathe. Don't change your breath, just notice it. You might hear me be quiet for little passages, so I'm going to give you time to notice things without my voice. Okay, so notice your breathing. Notice the inhale. Notice the exhale. And don't change it. You don't have to change your breathing. Just notice it. Okay. Next, while you're breathing, feel whatever chair, sofa, whatever furniture you're sitting on or laying on the floor. Notice all the places where it's pushing into your body, where your body meets it. Just notice. Okay. Is anything touching your feet, your calves, your thighs, your rear end or your low back, your upper back? Just notice that, where your body meets it. Okay? That's where you are. Next, turn your attention back to your breathing. Don't change your breathing, just notice your breathing again. Notice each breath. Is it fast or slow? Is it deep or shallow? Just notice. Okay? Next, notice inside. What is one thing that you need to do to feel even better than you feel right now? What would you like to do? This is a thought. Is there something you'd like to be doing? A place you'd like to be? Just think about that one thing that you might like to do to feel good or better. Got it? Okay, finally, turn your attention back to your breathing. Count 5 breaths, and then you can sort of lift your eyes and open your eyes and come back to us. Just notice your breathing for 5. Okay. All right, so now we're back to you're paying attention to me, eyes back on me and on the screen here in front of the PowerPoint. How did you feel? Notice to yourself. How does your body feel this second? How does your chest feel? How does your stomach feel? How does your head feel? Are you more relaxed? Do you feel more openness or space? Some people feel a little tingly. Some people feel a little dizzy. Okay. In doing that, what I was directing you to do was to notice, imagine that a cloud is a thought, and the yellow, the sunshine, is your breathing. When you stop to notice your body and your breathing, that's the space in between thoughts. So first you were noticing your breath, that was a little sunshine, and then I had you think about your body, right? What's your body sitting on? And so you focused your attention on purpose on your body, where it was in space, what you're sitting on, how it felt. So that's getting grounded in the moment. And you directed your attention. You told your mind exactly what to focus on. And then next, I asked you to focus back on your breathing, which is, guess what? That's the space between thoughts. You weren't really thinking something, you were just noticing your breathing. Right? That's some space between all the thoughts. You were in the moment, you were in the now. Then I encourage you to think number 3, what's something you might do to feel good or feel better? You directed your attention to something else. You noticed the next cloud floating by. In fact, you kind of controlled that cloud. I asked you to select a cloud to focus on. And then after that, I had you focus back on your breathing, more sunshine. So you might have noticed that you felt good. Some people feel better when they're focusing on getting grounded. Some people feel good when they notice the chair grounding them to the ground, when they feel their body being supported by their chair or sofa. Some people feel better when they're noticing their breathing. Some people find the whole thing relaxing. But if you notice, you just got in the present. If you were really doing it. Now, when you get good at this, if you can do this for 2.5 minutes, do the same exercise. 1 time per day, 2.5 minutes out of your life, you'll start to notice, in my experience and from all the feedback that I've received from just dozens, if not hundreds of people that I've shared this with, that you actually get better at the sunshine. You'll find it easier to notice your breathing and creating some space between your thoughts, which can really be a help when you're a stressed out person. Then you might notice, okay, here comes my negative thought again. But you'll also find, by practicing this, you might get better at directing your attention not on thought number 2, that stressy thought, the negative thought, but maybe thought number 1 or thought number 3. You might find that you get more control over your thoughts and you can direct your thinking. So this is really an awareness exercise. That's why I call it noticing inside. And so I want to encourage you to make this a little practice, and you could do this before bed. Lay down and do this. It'll help you relax before bed. Build it into your routine. And I think you'll find a lot of great results from it. Okay, thought number 3 is happy. And what's thought number 4? Right? Yes, you can absolutely have your negative thoughts. As I said in the beginning, negative thoughts are normal. They are expected. But if you find that they get in the way of your life, or they're bringing you down, or creating toxic feelings, negative feelings that really, really hurt you, maybe they make you feel like, oh, I'm giving up. I'm not even trying. I can't do this. I can't do this is a negative thought. What's another thought? I'll try, right? So let's see what kind of thoughts you can replace. So that's getting in the now. All right, so let me sum up, and then we'll get to Q&A. So here's the conclusion from today. We talked about, 1, a cognitive shift, right? Let's see if we can try to see the world in a slightly different way, try on a different set of lenses. Something that's not so pie in the sky, Pollyanishly optimistic, but just something neutral to realistic. And I think you'll find that you're more comfortable. Second, let go of what toxic thoughts you can. We talked about getting in the now, putting down that orb of negativity, unless you're going to learn from it. What can I learn from this? Let it flow to the past, right? And we even talked about a very concrete action you can do if you're someone who really has a very sticky thinking and has a very toxic memory or experience. We talked about the shoulds. And finally, we talked about getting in the now. And then I shared the noticing inside exercise. Okay. So at this point, I would love to open it up to your questions. I will turn off the share and we can talk to each other, so you can either chat it or you can unmute yourself. And I would love to hear everyone's thoughts, comments, and questions.
Great. Do we have anybody who has a question for Mike? Hi, Carol.
Hi, Elena.
You're on the main screen right here. You were in the main window.
Oh, really?
There you are. Now you're like glowing in the dark.
Yeah, I'm trying to get it. I'm outside, so I'm trying to get it so you can see me.
Okay.
That was just a great presentation. That was just very well put together, and it progressed a lot, and it took, things that I've know a little about at least, and just put a lot of things together in ways that seem very useful.
Thank you so much. I really appreciate that feedback. And also I see someone chatting some very kind things also. Thank you. My pleasure.
So do we have any questions for Mike? Thank you for your comments in the chat, Megan and Daniel. I don't know if we have anybody with any questions.
That's fine.
Don't be shy.
Is Raymond writing something, it looks like, or no?
I'm not sure.
Okay.
I can ask him to unmute.
Hey.
Hi, Raymond.
Hi.
Hi.
Do you have something you want to ask Mike?
Any questions about negative thinking and positive thinking?
I think that your input was I think it was fair. I think that your input was okay, and I think that what really then it has to be. I think that people have to be all on the same page on something like this, because because everybody's ideas could cause like someone else's ideas could cause you to have negative thinking. You know?
So like if you hear someone that disagrees with you or says something you don't like, is that an example?
Yeah, but negative thinking, I think, can be worked in and basically lowered, I think. Yeah, by maybe having spontaneity, you know?
Okay. Yeah. You know, sometimes people will bring their negativity to us, right? To you. Like if you have someone who's having a bad day and then they, you know, are impatient with us, right? Or you. And if they, you know, so they can dump and take their negative feelings out on us. And if we are, you know, not careful, we can defend ourselves from that if we can use the thinking and the doing that I talked about in the presentation, right? Because if you think about it, like if someone's really negative, if they criticize us harshly, or they're, you know, I could think, well, maybe they're having a bad day. You can check in with yourself. Did I do something to them? No, they're just venting on me. That's their bad day. So I'm not going to let them bring me down. So that's a new way to think about it versus, you know, I could, you know, just be like, oh, they're so mean. You know, this is the worst. They're bullies and I'm just a victim. And oh, that hurts so much. You know, so the way that we think about someone who's saying harsh things to us can defend us sometimes and protect us from unkind words and people who might bring us down. Does that make sense the way I said that?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, we have a question from Daniel. He says he has a relative with Asperger's and he would not be receptive if I tried to talk to him about it. Do you have suggestions on how to bring it to his attention? I'm assuming he means Asperger's. Maybe Daniel could clarify what you mean by talking about it. Daniel, can you clarify? Lewis seconded the question, but I'll just make sure I'm clear on what the person's asking. Daniel, can you hear us?
Was it the program that Mr. Fogel was, or the techniques?
The subject of tonight's
he's
seminar.
talking
Okay.
about the subject of tonight's seminar.
Yes,
Yep,
yes.
that's what he meant. Okay, thanks, Daniel.
So, of course, sometimes I feel like I'm selling something. There's a bit of salesmanship in a way, but not like used car salesmanship, really in a relationship. So when I'm working with a client, I've worked with dozens of clients who were not receptive. And so you can't just shove an idea, even a worthwhile idea, down someone's throat. So I think talking about them with like, well, like, what do you find hard for you? Like, I don't want to just lecture you, but tell me like, what's going on with you? Is there a time where you felt like things were really bad? You were really stressed out? Person says, you know, yes, inevitably, because they're a human being. I say, okay, would you be interested in hearing a way that you might handle that? You know, or I heard something recently that helps people have less pain and frustration and more calm, more resiliency. Would you be interested in hearing about that? So one little lever to get buy-in from people is to identify like what some of their pain or discomfort is. And then you can say, without shoving it down their throat, you say like, oh, I heard something, would you be interested? And if they say yes, then all of a sudden they have buy-in and they're more receptive. So that's one just relationship-based technique that I use. It's not really a technique, it's just being a human being with someone else.
Right.
And you're
I mean, I
identifying
think that kind of puts them in the driver's seat too. I didn't mean to interrupt
Yeah.
you, but it kind of puts them in
Mhm.
control of whether or not they're going
Yeah.
to, listen to the information.
Yeah. So that's one way in, is you partly give them control, and also it's a little bit of motivational interviewing, so to speak. It's a motivational conversation. What's in it for you? As opposed to, hey, I'm trying to control you, which might be what that relative feels. Oh, here's someone else trying to boss me around or control me, tell me what to do. I've had it up to here with that. So I think that's really the way in for that one. Let me know if you've.
Yeah, we
Let me
have
know if
one
you've-
more question from Lewis about how to catch oneself when in grip of intense negative reaction, heading down slippery slope. The very time self-awareness is virtually non-existent,
Mhm.
perhaps teaching yourself a script when centered, and then hopefully you can retrieve it in the moment.
Yes. Yeah. So great question. And I think you embedded one answer in your question. Perhaps teach a script when centered. When I teach that the glass is half full, glass is half empty thing, a script like, well, at least, is something I've used with kids even as young as 6, who are very concrete and who could really get lost in negative spirals and really throw themselves into a tantrum pretty quickly. So that's one way to sort of interrupt and intercept that negative cycle quickly. So a script is a great idea, which could be, well, at least. It could be another thing that we teach people of all ages is a script for self-awareness, or like a check-in kind of thing. We call it scanning yourself. Imagine there's a satellite high above us that's constantly trained on us like a radar detector, it's a scanner, but it's like a frustration scanner, or it's like an emotion scanner. And so it's scanning you. But you could use that. Imagine there were an app on your phone and you could scan yourself at any time. And so I'll give homework, or I'll assign for my clients, like, okay, I want you to scan yourself from your head to toe really quickly. Okay, how's my head doing right now? How's my chest, stomach? Quick body scan, check in with yourself. And you actually do it at all times of the day. And so you could set a timer. You could set it on your phone calendar to have an alarm to go off every so often. Quick scan, check in, how am I doing? And first you do it very mechanically, like scheduled, to just get in the habit of doing a little self-awareness check-in. Check in with yourself, check in with yourself. And then with repetition, the person develops just the ability to do that check-in. And sometimes they might catch themselves at a 3 of frustration, or a 5, and they may start to notice it. And so then you can combine that self-awareness, this idea of scanning yourself. Can you scan yourself? Scan yourself now. How are you doing? And then, so that becomes a skill set. And then perhaps have some kind of a script or a mantra. Another script could be like, I'm okay. I'm safe here. Another script could be, oh, quick check-in, frustrated, I'm taking a break. No, I'm aware that self-awareness can be hard, especially for someone who leans toward being impulsive, right? Because they're acting before thinking. So this is a key, no matter how chronologically old they are, that's a key developmental sort of skill to work on, ongoingly. So self-awareness, can I scan myself? How often? How am I doing? And then perhaps have a script of something The script could be a thought, I'm okay, or it could be a do. I'm going to go take a break, right? I'm going to go do something that's self-regulating, that calms me down. Okay. Yes, I see a question in the chat. Can we get a copy of the PowerPoint from tonight's presentation? Yes, I will send you a PDF tomorrow, along with a link to the video. You can check this video out. Again, I'm going to post the video on my YouTube channel, which is called Mike Fogel's Art of Friendship. And I have a host of other videos related to social skills, coping with anxiety, coping with anger and frustration. So there's some more resources for you. So it's called Mike Fogel's Art of Friendship. That's my YouTube channel.
That's great. Okay, do we have any other questions? I think we're pretty close to 8:15 and that's our ending time, but one last opportunity to ask a question or comment. We have a lot of thank yous and I think everybody got a lot out of the session tonight. So it's a helpful reminder too, to kind of not let yourself spiral into that toilet bowl of, what'd you call it? The toilet bowl of
Toilet
what?
bowl of doom.
Of doom. Yes, I could have easily done that today with all the technology issues.
I faced some serious adversity. I was doing positive mantras. I was saying yesterday, I launched a program at a school and the school that I went to was very disorganized. We put so much effort into this program. We were all professional and had all of our details planned. And then, oh boy, it was stressful. So I had to use every strategy that I talked about tonight. I use myself, So I'm not just preaching. I really use and see my clients benefiting from these types of things too. So I encourage you to try them. All I can say is try.
I want to thank you. I think it was very helpful for myself, and you do a great job. You're very direct, and it is easy to digest. Thank you so much.
Thank you for joining us. Thanks everyone for spending your busy nights with us.
Thank you.
Okay, thanks everyone. Just a reminder to follow the Ascend group on our social media channels. Go to ascendgroup.org. That's ASCEND group.org for information about our upcoming programs. I think you all probably found out about our webinar tonight through our email. So we have a monthly e-news that we send out. So stay tuned for more details. And thanks again for joining us tonight.
Thank you.
Have a great night. Have a great rest of the week.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye.